All right, tonight we actually did pretty well. We have the front suspension pretty much all assembled. What did we do? We put the springs in. That was fun. Here, check this out. We don't, because we didn't have the right spring compressor, we had to rent this fine device. This is a fine rental spring compressor device. Here's the tech tip, okay? Let's go over to the spring, shall we? This device hooks up through the spring, and then you put the plate on, and then you tighten it down. Be absolutely sure, before you start this project, that this here fits through the hole in the control arm. See the shock in there right now, right? Because once you get the spring compressed and all installed, after about the 10th time of getting this crappy thing adjusted, and it doesn't come out through the hole, you'll be very upset. So we're trying to prevent people from being upset. And that's why you check this through the control arm first. Fantastic. That's our tech tip for this evening. And we got the rear suspension in place. That goes back to Auto Hole or wherever we rented it from. Just got to put the rear sway bar in. This goes together real easy. I mean, this kind of stuff is big tinker toys. Again, we did the detailed install on the website earlier this year, you know, as a test fit, and now it's hopefully finally together. The only thing we did differently, powder coated the rear end cover. We didn't want it to be shiny chrome, so we just kind of gave that a natural gray look. Kind of works with the hardware and stuff. So this chassis is coming together pretty easily. The rest of the body panels, what's going on with those?
Well, first of all, how many times did you hit your head?
I hit my head a lot. I don't like hitting my head. Yeah,
everybody seems to think that you're cool and collected, and I keep telling them the only time you get upset is when you hit your head.
Yeah,
so
well,
what happens when you hit your head, Kevin? What do you do?
I get upset. All right, very funny. Okay,
Nobody needs to see it on camera, though, do they?
Tonight, I actually took a rubber mallet and I hit the floor. It wasn't that bad of an outburst.
Yeah, you don't have outbursts.
No.
No. So now my question is, what's going on with the body panels?
Well, they're all over the shop.
Yeah, they're all over.
And covered in dead bugs.
They were on the car.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah, and boy, I'm glad we're not painting because there are bugs everywhere right now. I don't know. It rained like sometime last week, and we must have Mosquito City here.
We've renamed this place Bug Zapper Customs.
Right.
You should hear when we fire that thing up.
Right. The zapper goes crazy, and the body panels, what's happening is tomorrow, they've all been finished, like everything's ready. So tomorrow, I get to wipe them off with my favorite product, Ditso.
Oh yeah, right.
My wax and grease remover. And then I gotta take off some stuff so that we don't spray certain areas, like the underneath of the hood, with primer. And everything is getting shot with primer tomorrow. And then we gotta sand again.
Well, I mean, but this brings up a pretty good point, because you look at these parts, the front sheet metal is all new, the inner fenders are new.
Yes.
The core support
is old.
Well, it's not necessarily old, it's a replacement GM core support that was installed at some point.
Right.
But when you look at where everything is right now, okay, everything has been block sanded. I mean, the original parts, like the doors, have been media blasted, and then they were pounded straight, and then they were primered, and then they were filled, and then they were sanded, and then block sanded, and then sprayed with a spray polyester, and that's been block sanded, and now they're getting ready for more primer and more stuff.
Right.
So the magazines recently have been doing a lot with articles about get a $1,000 paint job, or
how's that possible?
Paint your car for $100,
come on,
or less.
No.
And you know, I'm not sure about all that, because I know what they're doing. They want people to think that they could, you know, apply paint to their vehicle and make it look nice and not spend a lot of cash, which is a good feeling, and that's going to sell a lot of magazines because people are interested in that concept.
Wow.
But the problem is, if you look at this pile right here.
I'm looking.
Okay, and if you go to a shop, say you're going to have a decent shop paint your car.
Not us, but a decent shop.
Yeah, right. We got to get this one done. you couldn't take the panels off the car and put them in this pile and not do anything else to them for less than probably $500.
Right.
Because you got to consider shop labor, the hourly rate of the shop, you know. So I think the point here is that there are people that get upset because they read the magazine article and they go, hey, you know what, I just saw I could paint my car for $1,000, or I might be able to get a decent paint job for a couple $1,000s. And then they decide maybe I don't want to do that, but they take it to a shop and a shop quotes them 20 grand, you know, to paint a car. And that sounds like a lot of money. And believe me, 20 grand is a lot of money. But if you want something that's going to be pretty nice, like this stuff where, you know, I'm not saying this is going to be the most pristine, perfect paint job in the world, but there's just a lot of time, and you saw the other blog we did, scotch brighting and sanding the backside of the fenders and applying multiple chemicals to the inside of the fenders and then the outside and inside of doors and back sides of everything, and everything getting filler all over the place. Well, when you start to, you know, accumulate this material cost, and then you start to accumulate the shop time to do all this stuff, you know, all of a sudden, you know, $15,000 is a decent deal on a paint job. So I'm not really, you know, finding fault with the do-it-yourself low-buck paint job, because if you don't count your own hours, you can certainly do a lot, you know, of this kind of work. It's going to take you some time, but you're not, you know, paying on the clock for it. But I guess the question that I'm posing is, you know, as car builders and shop owners and paint guys out there, you know, it's got to be kind of frustrating to have somebody come in and go, well, I just saw that, you know, I can do this for $1,000, and you know, where do you get off charging me $15 or $20 or $30 or $50,000 to paint a car? Where does it come from? But, you know, as you saw, and as you're seeing, as we put this car together, you know, there's 3, 4, 5 people on this, you know, pretty much, I don't want to say nonstop, but doing a lot of labor time making this car look nice on both sides. And that's, you know, the owner of this car really wants it to look nice. But there's a lot of time and a lot of effort. So, you know, maybe I'm, you know, give me your thoughts on this. You can post them in our forum at vatvshow.com/forum. Man, the bugs in here are unbelievable. And I'm curious to know the feedback on what it's like out there getting cars painted, because it is a lot of work and chemicals are expensive. And, you know, if you want it done right, it's not going to be cheap. So, you know, unfortunately, the magazine stuff I think is a little bit misleading. I'm wondering why they don't do a story on an expensive paint job. You know, what does it take to do a $20,000 paint job? What goes into it? Well, I guess that's kind of what we're doing, showing you, because on the street, this would probably be, when you add up all the time and labor and everything else, you know, yeah, this might be a $20,000 paint job. But I think, you know, if it's advertised as, yeah, get a $50 paint job, well, who wants one? You know, that's the other thing. Right.
Well, because I can tell you that one roll of one number of sandpaper that we get can be anywhere from $20 to $50 for one roll of sandpaper.
Yeah, $50 for one stack of sandpaper.
What kind of paint job are you getting for $50 when you didn't even sand it, obviously, because there went your $50.
Tape, okay? Green tape. You can see a roll of it sitting there?
Yeah.
We have
gobs of it.
I mean, all this, there's like 10 of these stacks.
Right.
We've probably already been through 10 of these.
Right.
In different sizes.
And tomorrow I'll go through all those because I have to take off all these friggin' panels
inside
several
and out
times in one day. So if you went to...
What does a roll of that tape cost?
Well, if you went to a store and you bought one roll of tape at an auto parts store, I have seen 2-inch tape for $13 for one roll.
That's this.
That's that thickness.
Yeah.
13
bucks. We've probably blown through
a whole bunch.
20 rolls of this stuff, and we're going to go through, and we haven't even sprayed any color on the car.
I can't figure out where the $50 is.
So, you know, I'm not trying to say that, you know, paint jobs are extremely expensive and that's terrible. I'm just saying that, you know, you do get what you pay for, and if you're going to have a nice car done, you should maybe move away from the mindset of dollar down, do-it-yourself stuff, and be prepared to encounter a paint shop that's going to tell you a pretty big number, because, you know, we're trying to show you what happens, what actually goes into it.